Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back from the networking break. As a matter of introduction, my name is James Riviezo. I'll be serving as your afternoon MC for the afternoon sessions here today. By background, I am a consultant and advisor in the InsurtechNY space. I most recently was at a firm called Breeza, running growth. Shout out to Rishi Sharma in the back over there. Yeah, there it is. Today's afternoon sessions are going to be very interesting and stimulating. Bring all your friends. We can fill in some of the open spots here. Text them outside. Tell them to get in here. We're going to lead off with 3 TED-style talks with some great leaders and thoughtful innovators here in the industry. Kicking off the afternoon session is a session on making machine learning matter. Presenting will be Jay Bourland, who is the Chief Technology Officer at Fenris. Jay leads Fenris's software and data engineering, product development, and innovation efforts, and is responsible for creating the company's broader technology strategy and direction. Prior to Fenris, Jay served as Senior Vice President of Engineering at Alteryx, where he led product development, leading to Alteryx's successful IPO in March of 2017. Please put your hands together and welcome Jay Bourland.
I have an idea. This is a really good idea. You're going to want to go back, set up a meeting Monday morning for, oh wait, not Monday, it's too late. Let's do this Saturday morning, right? That's when all the big ideas really come to light. So we're going to take this idea, and here it is. We're going to go hire a development team and build a system to manage our customers' relationships. No, not a great idea. Why is that? They're our customers. We're a special organization. Why don't we have something unique to do that? You know, a few years ago, that wasn't such a crazy idea. Organizations like yours had big development teams. In fact, the whole Agile methodology was developed for organizations' development teams, not for people that produce software as a business. So what happened? Why has that changed? First and foremost, technology is a tool to achieve your ends. If you give me a Stradivarius violin, I'm just going to make noise, not music. What we really need then is solutions that can solve our problems. CRM implementations don't fail because of the technology. They fail because you can't create a single view of the customer when sales, marketing, finance, and operations can't agree on what a customer is. The second thing that happens with software is kind of magical. And that is that most of the cost of creating software happens in creating the first copy of it. It's almost free to create the next copy and many more. So that means that once I've sunk in the cost to create this, I can sell it again and again and then reduce your cost by sharing that development cost across a bunch of organizations. So even when I add in support, maintenance, and continued growth, we're still able to do significantly better than if you create something just by yourself. That was brought to a head in 2003 when Nicholas Carr published an article called IT Doesn't Matter. His argument was that because of the economics of this situation, and because economics is a bit like gravity and always wins, that it was difficult to create sustainable differentiation through an internal technology project. So I said this talk was going to be about machine learning, so why am I still talking about software? Because I'm seeing the same thing happening in machine learning or AI or data science or analytics, whatever you want to call it. I used machine learning because I kind of like alliteration and it made the title work. But all of these things are pretty similar. So first off, machine learning has been around for a while. People have been making decisions for a long time in business. Sort of started with what I call intuitive analytics, making those gut decisions. That's why you hire someone with 7 years experience, because they've spent 7 years training their mental model on how to make decisions. Then it starts going into descriptive analytics, where we build charts and graphs about what happened, predictive analytics, prescriptive, and so on and so forth. Each of these is a step to create more immediate and actionable insight. But immediate and actionable insight isn't really useful if you can't take immediate action. So that is the key idea here, is that, again, this is a tool to help you make a decision and act on the information, but it's the way you consume that information that really matters. So that's one part of that equation that was driving software. The second part was reproducibility. So you're all sitting there saying, but wait a minute, my models are special. They're all individual for what I'm doing. And if you really look at what happens to go from a model, from a question, collecting data, analyzing the data, building out and training your model on that data, and then publishing that model into production, there's only one small part of that where we say, give me your data that is different for all the different parts. So that whole pipeline, if you think of it, just needs a different input for each one, and as long as that pipeline is very efficient and can drive the model building, then we're able to reproduce and create that multiple copies of those models that are still applicable just to your business. So I'm not trying to say one size fits all. I don't believe in that at all. But instead that we're able to train that very quickly for you. The other thing that happens in modeling is people start worrying about, what about accuracy? If you're training on something that's this kind of generic pipeline, if I go and I spend a lot more time, I can create a more accurate model. And you know what? You're probably right. But the difference is that error curves in modeling are very flat. And that's a mathematical expression that just means that you don't get a lot of bang for your buck. So once you're good on a model, going from good to best often increases the experience, the actual accuracy of the model very little, but can often cost an awful lot. It's a little like being in a theater where one seat over for you is paying 10 times as much for a slightly better seat. Instead, what we find is that the time that a model has been around is the key. So as we live in such dynamic environments, that the ability to retrain the data on the retrain the model on the latest data is much more important than creating the most efficient model that immediately starts going stale. Little like that old joke about fish and guests. And then finally, the other thing that really matters is time. Being able to predict quickly, especially we work a lot in the lead space, and being able to make a decision on a lead in sub-second on whether to bid or access a lead. So we bring those three pieces into our models, in addition to insight. We work very hard on making sure that models are transparent. So they don't just answer the question, but they also give you some information about your business. And so those three pieces, trainability, transparency, and performance, are keys to building out those really effective pipelines that give you better models and better approaches to the solution. What we see happening, though, is that people haven't learned how to consume those models. And this is one of the things that, if you take nothing else from my 7 minutes or 10 minutes up here, please take this. Focus on the consumption of the information, on the action that you take, not on the insight. We've created this knowing-doing gap where all of the data lives on one side and we know what we should be doing, but we haven't set aside the processes to actually complete and make it happen. And that's the key for there. You want to make your team think of them as iron chefs, where they've used data that's available to them to create outstanding outcomes and not always looking for just more data and more ingredients. So in summary, we want to focus on a little story here of customers that have used our data and used our insights to make things happen. And in addition to getting the expected outcomes as we look at improving a customer acquisition pipeline, they also frees them up to focus on the actions that they take because they're not spending so much effort on the models and being able to do what they do best and focus on sales or other pieces there. So, love to chat about this more. It's a little bit controversial, I'm sure. We're at the table right as you go into the expo area. There's 3 of us here today, so thank you very much and good luck.